Roll up, ladies and gentlemen. Come join, gather. One man went to mow. You know how we do it. Matters arising. One man went to mow. Roll up. Gather. Come join. You should have set it in your diaries by now. 10:30 p.m. One man went to mow time. Gather. Come join. Matters arising. Say hello as you're coming in. You know how we do it. Plenty to discuss. So gather, come join, take a seat. Say hello as you're coming in. One man went to mow. So we're discussing GODSWILL Akpabio in this session. We're discussing also Madam Ezekwesilsi responding to Buhari giving PANTAMI absolution. And then, of course, we're going to a narrative of FAYEMI saying that a female can never, ever be the president of Nigeria. So plenty to discuss. Let me send you the invite in case you want to come join the session live. You know how we do it. Say hello as you're coming in. Interact with the session. It is meant to be an interactive session. So come, join, sit, gather, huddle up. Say hello, Caroline Edith. So join Caroline in saying hello as you are coming in. Plenty to discuss, as I said. The headlining story, Lamson, hello. So say hello as you are coming in. The headline story, GODSWILL Akpabio has been picked up by the DSS for attempting to bribe the agency's the lead person. Madam Obi Ezekwesilsi, she is clapping back at Malam Buhari, who, as you all know, has granted PANTAMI absolution. So plenty to discuss. FAYEMI as well, we're going there. FAYEMI has come out to say that a female can never be the president of Nigeria. So how he justifies this statement is something we'll come across in the course of the session. So as I said, plenty to discuss. And let's go now straight in. And by the way, this is going to be like a bit of a marathon session that we're going to be having, because I'm having sessions back to back. So if you're already settled in there, you might as well settle in for the duration. It is the weekend. So if you're not chanced to be doing anything else, then just settle in. It's going to be 2 sessions. This session is dedicated to politics. And then the next session, which will just stagger 15 minutes or so after, is going to ask the question about that sugar relationship that they have within the Nigerian space. So sugar daddies and sugar babies is going to be the next session. But to this section, we go straight to the first story, which is the GODSWILL Akpabio one. So, and here it is, exclusive, how EFCC detained GODSWILL Akpabio for 2 hours after attempting to bribe agency's chairman with 350,000 American dollars. So, of course, the question is, why did he do this, and what underpins this, and what deal went down to be able to part with that sum, 350,000 US dollars, and to be willing to part with it too. So, plenty to find out as we go to the headline again. Exclusive, how EFCC detained GODSWILL Akpabio for 2 hours for attempting to bribe agency's chairman with 350,000 American dollars. So now let's now find out exactly what wayo is going on here. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has detained the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, GODSWILL Akpabio, after he attempted to bribe the chairman of the anti-graft agency, Abdulrasheed Bawah, correspondents have learned. Sources informed correspondents on Friday that Akpabio and 5 others with him, said to be his aides, were detained for 2 hours last Monday, April the 12th, by the EFCC after the minister attempted to bribe Bawah with 350,000 American dollars. According to sources, Akpabio was trying to bribe the EFCC chairman because of the tons of corruption allegations against him dating back to the time when he was governor of Akwa Ibom State. It was learned that the meeting between Akpabio and Bawa was arranged by the Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami SAN, who was recently embroiled in a 5 million naira bribery controversy himself. So all of the indices, all of the main characters, all of the protagonists of corruption within the Nigerian space are in play, of course. Excuse me. So all of the protagonists of corruption within the Nigerian space are in play. You don't mention corruption in Nigeria without mentioning the name of GODSWILL Akpabio. We all know that. And then, of course, the number one phase of corruption in this particular regime at the moment is Abubakar Malami, the SAN. That guy now, he's well into maybe his third or fourth billion American dollars now. He's just endlessly looting the space. So this is the goings on. What says you? Let's see, comments being made. Why would Akpabio want to bribe the EFCC? Well, I think that was already, that is Mike asking that question, but I think that was already captured in the preceding paragraph. So let's just take it from the paragraph again. According to sources, Akpabio was trying to bribe the EFCC chairman because of the tons of corruption allegations against him dating back to the time he was governor of Akwa Ibom State. It was learned that the meeting between Akpabio and Bawa was arranged by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami SAN, who was recently embroiled in a 5 million naira bribery controversy himself. Akpabio was said to have carried the $350,000 in cash personally to Bawa before he was detained. Correspondents gathered that it took a call from the Aso Rock Villa to the EFCC chairman to get Akpabio and his aide to be released. A top source in the EFCC said he arrived at the EFCC office with 5 others and headed to meet the newly appointed chairman, Bawa. The Attorney General of the Federation, who was recently arranged, the meeting for the minister. So I'm not quite sure how that reads, but that is how it is written. Remember his bribery issue with Malami himself involving $5 million. I did say he said 5 million naira earlier on, and I was thinking that 5 million naira is small change to somebody like Abubakar Malami. That's probably what he gives his driver on a daily basis. He was ushered in at 1 p.m. to see the EFCC chairman whilst carrying the money personally. He was arrested and detained along with his aide, all 6 of them. It was a call from the villa that got him released after 2 hours. However, it was not clear as of the time of writing this report if the $350,000 had been released to Akpabio, but correspondents learned that there had been enormous pressure on Bawa to return the money to the minister. According to reports, Akpabio had also bribed Malami and others with $5 million to get Effiong Akwa appointed as the sole administrator for Niger Delta Development Commission, an allegation both of them denied. There have also been allegations of 40 billion naira fraud perpetrated in the NDDC, which is under the supervision of Akpabio's ministry, explaining the pressure on Akpabio to clear the weight of corruption allegation hanging on his neck. The Senate and the House of Representatives had last year resolved to probe the alleged 40 billion naira financial recklessness of the Interim Management Commission IMC of the NDDC in the previous 3 months. But Akpabio, whose ministry supervises the agency, swiftly released a statement entitled National Assembly Probes Alleged 40 Billion Corruption in NDDC, saying under the supervision of the Niger Delta Affairs Ministry, no corruption had been recorded in the NDDC. Also, there have been allegations of over 86 billion naira contract scam involving Akpabio and the acting managing director of Niger Delta Development Commission, Professor Fameyi, which the EFCC has been looking into. Noting the pressure on Akpabio, another source said, don't forget he has tons of corruption cases with the EFCC right from when he was governor. And now with the NDDC scam, with the NDDC scams in billions, he is under a lot of pressure. When Akpabio was released, he called Malami, who arranged his meeting with the EFCC chairman, frantically asking him to drive to the EFCC office to explain to Bawa that he didn't mean to cause him any harm by bribing him, but Malami said he was sick. Malami told him he had just returned from Turkey, after which he traveled to Sokoto and collapsed in public. Correspondents had on April the 15th reported how Malami collapsed in Sokoto State whilst he was there for the inauguration of the reconstructed State High Court complex by Governor Aminu Tambuwal. It was gathered that the minister collapsed after delivering his address at the ceremony and was quickly revived by his aides and dignitaries who helped him to stand. He was subsequently hospitalized at a private facility upon his return to Abuja. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Akpabio, God's will. There you are. Hello there. Speak truth.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was able to. I'm very fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, are you using your headphone? We can hear a lot of background noise.
Are you still hearing a background noise because I have my earpiece on?
Okay.
Because I did go through the videos again to understand what you were talking about, and I found an issue.
You saw what I was saying,
the echo.
Yeah,
there was so much distractions, but I have an earpiece on. Do you still hear the background?
No. It's better now. So what are you making of the narrative? We are talking about Akpabio, who has so much corruption allegations leveled against him, but still finds himself as a minister within this administration. But then, of course, a corrupt man will always be a corrupt man, and is now out trying to bribe the new EFCC chairman with Malami, of course, supporting him. So that's the opening narrative. What are you making of it so far?
Is that the only thing you're discussing?
No, that's the opening story. We're still going to get into other stories. So we go through the stories. We're actually having 2 sessions tonight. So this is the first session where we're going to discuss all matters politics. And then from 12:45, we're going to discuss discuss the sugar daddy, sugar baby dichotomy within the Nigerian space and by extension the African space.
Oh,
okay. No. Anyway, let me just see what else is being said in the comment section. Let's see who else is on board with this. Lamsin Nasir, it is true Akpabio was arrested for bribing EFCC. Well, of course it is true. It is in the public space. Or is it true? He's asking. Well, it is true, but he was not detained for too long because, of course, the powers that be. So, Mike, I'm not going to attempt your last name, but what Mike is saying is, I meant that there is something very fishy. Malami should be investigated. Yes, Malami should be investigated, but Malami will never be investigated, and I'll tell you why. Malami is part of the cabal that we're always talking about within the Nigerian space. This guy is so powerful that he has effectively taken over the FCC and put it as a satellite organization under his own ministry. This is what he has done, and he single-handedly removed Ibrahim Magu, who was the ex-then acting EFCC chairman, because that guy was too rigid. Not that he was incorruptible, Ibrahim Magu, because of course he's extremely corrupt to the point that the Senate would not confirm him, but it was too independent of mind for Malami to fully control. So this this Abdul Rashid Bawa that they have now put in the EFCC as the chairperson there, look at this for the level of nepotism and clannishness that goes on within the Nigerian space. This guy is from Abubakar Malami's home state, Borno State, and is an appointee of Abubakar Malami. So he effectively removed Ibrahim Magu and picked effectively a relative of his from his own home state and installed him there into that space. So that is why he's confident. He has the confidence to say to Akpabio to go to the office and just tell this boy to settle down. But then, of course, this guy is new to the job and is looking to make a name. So he's going to just use this to make a name. So the idea of Malami being investigated, hell will freeze over before Malami is ever investigated within the Nigerian space. Isaac comes in. He says, good evening. Good evening to you too, Isaac. Then we have Lamsin Nasir. He comes in as well. I'm not quite sure if Lamsin sounds like a male name, so I'm thinking of you as a male, Lamsin. Of course, Malami needs to be scrutinized. His hands are not clean. This was a guy that almost busted into tears during Senate screening, begging to be confirmed, and now he has turned into a demigod. So demagoguery within the Nigerian space, who would have thought? But that is the narrative. So the opening salvo, of course, to EFCC and the narration of the endless just looting that is going on. I often say, and I continue to repeat, that the only thing going on in Nigeria is just criminality, and the entirety of the Nigerian state is just one giant criminal enterprise. There's not one single thing going on in Nigeria other than acts of criminality. So to criminality, we were, but we leave criminality to go to terrorism, the twin head of that double head serpent that is the Nigerian state. So terrorism we go. A lot of you, of course, will be aware, because I actually did a session on it. A lot of you will be aware that Malam Buhari had absolved PANTAMI of all of this terrorism. Not that he's saying he did not do it, but he said he was a younger man when he did it, and he has forgiven him. So what did PANTAMI do for Malam Buhari to forgive him? PANTAMI said when a non-Muslim is killed, this was what he said in his late 20s, early 30s. So PANTAMI said then that when a non-Muslim is killed, he celebrates that Osama bin Laden is his mentor, that he has sympathy for the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, and he wants to drive all non-Muslims out of the Nigerian state. So this was what this guy was saying in his 30s, and the guy has not come out to deny it. So what this guy is now saying, PANTAMI, is that he's a bit older now and he doesn't think that way anymore. And what Malam Buhari is now telling us is that him saying that he's a bit older now and he doesn't think that way anymore, that is sufficient then to absolve this self-confessed terrorist, not only to absolve him, but to have him to continue being in situation to have oversight of the Nigerian database. And you have to understand how just dangerous and potent this guy is, with his views saying that he wants non-Muslims killed and it's a joyous day when that ever happens. So this guy now, he's collating all the data of Nigerians via this NIN system. So what that means then is this self-confessed terrorist and a religious bigot and fundamentalist to the point of actively seeking and partaking in the killing of others based on ethnicity and religion. This element now is gathering all the information. So with all of the data that they are gathering under that NIN, they know where the concentrations of the Christians are, because that biodata will, of course, capture your gender, your age, your location, your orientation, etc. So it will capture enough basic information about you to know where the concentrations of Christians are within the Nigerian state. And this is a guy that has confessed that it is a vowed life mission to see the wiping out of Christianity and Christianity within the Nigerian space. But then, of course, Malam Buhari has absolved him of all this. But Madam Obi Ezekwesilli, of course, claps back as guys are bringing this. PANTAMI, Buhari has shown views on terrorism, says EZEKWESILI. So Madam Obi never shy in being forthright, and here she goes. Former Minister of Education, Obi EZEKWESILI, has disagreed with the President, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, on his support for the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Issa PANTAMI. Correspondents reported yesterday that the presidency through through the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, threw its weight behind PANTAMI amidst call for his resignation or sacking. The calls followed revelations allegedly linking PANTAMI to terrorist organizations like Al-Qaeda and Taliban. Sermons delivered by the minister in the past had him allegedly sympathizing with terror groups, a thing he says he has repented of. So let's just pause there on for a moment. So imagine that this is what we're talking about. We all, of course, know how Al-Qaeda came into prominence, 9/11 and all that. So I'm sure the Americans are paying attention to this. We all, of course, know who and what the Taliban are. So this guy now, he delivered sermons. This is the minister. Let me read you the paragraph again. Sermons delivered by the minister in the past had him allegedly sympathizing with terror groups, a thing he says he has repented from, he has repented of. So it is that short little last sentence that I want to pay particular attention to. A thing he says he has repented of. So now hold that thought, because you need to really let that echo. A thing he says he has repented of is not to say a thing that he has denied. So he's not denying that he is this terrorist, but he's not telling us that he's a repented terrorist. And we're not just talking about some rascally behavior. We're talking about a high-profile, heavily influential, extremely dangerous terrorist, you know, of international dimension, self-confessed, are completely exposed and not at all attempting to deny it, but is telling us that he doesn't hold those views anymore, those terroristic views, and that Malam Buhari is telling us is sufficient enough to absolve him of being a terrorist, and he can continue to gather data on Nigerians. This is the territory where we are in. Dark clouds forebode that country. Addressing calls for the minister's removal, Shehu, in a statement yesterday, said they do not really care what he may or may not have said some 20 years ago. That is merely the instrument they are using to attempt to cancel him. He also said the administration stands behind Minister PANTAMI and all Nigerian citizens to ensure they receive fair treatment, fair price, and fair protection in ICT services. Reacting, EZEKWESILI revealed that the position of the presidency in regards to the case involving PANTAMI shows the view of President Buhari on terrorism. So, of course, everybody has always been drumming this drumbeat that, in fact, this Buhari is indeed a terrorist. And of course, now we are now seeing it. It's not now just a subjective view of anybody anymore, because we are now seeing categorical instances that lends solidity to solidify that assertion that this guy is indeed a terrorist. He has appointed a terrorist into one of the most sensitive positions within the Nigerian space. This terrorist has been exposed as a terrorist. And what is Malam Buhari's response is told everybody to get lost. Get lost is effectively what they're saying. In that singular act of siding with this Minister of Communication, this is Madam Obi continuing, in that singular act of siding with his Minister of Communications, Nigeria President Buhari actually conveyed a message on his views of terrorism. Nigerians now know that his views align with that of his minister. It is now left to Nigerians to convey whether we agree with them, she tweeted. So how do you convey that, though, is what Madam Obi has not especially fleshed out. I do not agree with Nigeria President Buhari and his Minister of Communication that any citizen can get away with such blood-curdling rhetorics the latter made through the years, worse than one who swore an oath to public office said, was that one who swore an oath to public office said and did the things at Nigeria government has waved off. So this is the point that she's making. Yesterday's action by our president was an anticlimax. He has persisted in badly managing our country's diversity. Nigeria cannot at this stage avoid a genuine conversation about its future. The signs are all too obvious for all to see and act on. So I think if there was ever a call for Biafra, that is one right there in elegant language. So what says you? Let's go to Speak the Truth, because she seems to be the only one that is lined up so far. Can people click on the hyperlink and come join in? Speak the Truth. Speak the Truth. Are you there? And what are you making of the interaction? Okay, let's go to the comment section and see what you guys are saying. So we have Nat Johnson. Mohammed Buhari is a terrorist of he. Don't tell this. I don't know what. I'll put this on the screen because I am trying to make sense of what you've just written. And Nat Johnson. Mohammed Buhari is a terrorist of he. Don't tell this man to resign. So I think we get the gist of what you mean. So that is the second narrative, and I'm inviting anybody that is feeling moved and feeling brave enough to click on that hyperlink and come join in the live streaming. We'll go on to the next story, which will be the third story. So we've gone through that story, and of course, if there's nobody chiming in, then we just do that story and bring the session to a close. So the next story, of course, is FAYEMI speaking about the possibility or the impossibility of a female ever being the Nigerian president. But which FAYEMI is making this comment? It is the wife of the governor herself. Why female president cannot emerge in Nigeria now? Headline attributed to FAYEMI. So now let's now see what's been said here. The wife of the Ekiti State Governor, Mrs. Bisi FAYEMI, has said it might be difficult for a female president to emerge in Nigeria anytime soon, owing to the country's hostile political system. Mrs. FAYEMI, however, added that the country is ripe enough to be governed by a female president because of the vast women resources at its disposal, reiterating that the operational system might impede this from being realized soon. The news agency of Nigeria reports that Mrs. FAYEMI spoke in Ado-Ekiti on Friday at an event organized by Above Whisper Media Foundation in collaboration with Association of Nigerian Authors, signposting the first public book reading of her latest book titled Where is Your Rapper? To mark the 2021 World Book Day. So this is Mrs. FAYEMI now making incursions into the political terrain. It's not quite as heavy going as if it was said by her husband, but I just wanted to have that infusion. I just wanted to have that infusion just to sample opinion. But I will bring you a fourth story, and this one is really quite potent. A lot of you, of course, will remember Kemi Adeosun, the erstwhile Minister of Finance, who was unceremoniously relieved or pressured out of her position off the back of WAEC, with some anomalies with not our WAEC, but our NYSC release thing, NYSC release letter or certificate or whatever it's called. So there was some anomaly there, and Kemi Adeosun then was forced to step down from her position, and she, of course, did the honorable thing. But this is the example that people are now using to draw a parallel with this PANTAMI situation. But of course, now the presidency responds to that. As guys, I bring you this. Kemi Adeosun's forgery greater sin than PANTAMI's terrorism. A headline attributed to the presidency. So this is Malam Buhari hammering down. If you are not still clear that Malam Buhari and his cohorts are deep steeped in the whole terrorist, then you probably need to check yourself into the nearest psychiatric facility, because we're just held by evil now within the Nigerian space. What these people are saying, you remember the Kemi Adeosun, of course, the narrative, a respected accountant and financier with experiences in all of the top finance names in the United Kingdom and internationally, Peak Waterhouse and Goldman Sachs, and she's got all the gold star credentials to the point that she was the commissioner of finance for one of the Yoruba states, and then she evolved from there to become the commissioner of the minister rather of finance for the Nigerian state. So gold standard credentials, but the one thing that scuttled her, the one thing that tripped her over was that when she was meant to have served NYSC, she just did some brown envelope thing, just sat at home and just effectively paid somebody a brown envelope to get that NYSC release certificate. So that was what she did. That was the one speck in her otherwise golden career, and it was off the back of that this lady was handed out of office. So a lot of people were saying, if this lady was handed out of office for something that, of course, is more a misdemeanor than a crime, but nevertheless is standards that fall short of the expectations of a minister. So if Kemi Adeosun was handed out of the finance ministry off the back of that, then surely somebody like Pantami, a self-confessed and hardened terrorist, cannot be it cannot be in position, and not only can it not be in position, it should actually be detained by some institution. This is the parallel that people were drawing, but the presidency chimes back as again, Kemi Adeosun's forgery, greater sin than Pantami's terrorism, headline attributed to the presidency. So let's now see now how they justify the unbelievable. Garba Shehu, a presidential spokesman, says that the position of Muhammadu Buhari's regime on the terrorist views of Issa Pantami would have been different if the communication minister was involved in a certificate forgery like ex-minister of finance Kemi Adeosun. And by the way, she did not really forge a certificate. And it's not even forged, by the way, but there was some anomaly with her NYSC release form. That is the thing that this guy is describing as a forged certificate. During his appearance on Channels Television on Friday, Mr. Shehu said Mr. Pantami's extremist views and alleged ties with terrorist groups is a lesser crime than certificate forgery. As Mr. Pantami's radical preachings continued to generate outrage, Nigerians have asked him to emulate Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, who resigned as a minister in 2018 after it was uncovered that she forged her National Youth Service Corps exemption certificate. Amidst the outcry, Mr. Buhari on Thursday acknowledged that Mr. Pantami supported terrorist organizations and incited Muslim communities against the Christians in the north through declaration of jihad and fatwas, but insisted that the apology of the minister was enough to heal the wounds and console the victims of his divisive past. The president's position on the issue negates the provision of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2013, which describes a terrorist as a person or corporate body who knowingly in or outside Nigeria, directly or indirectly, willingly does, attempts or threaten any act of terrorism, commit an act preparatory to or in furtherance of an act of terrorism, amendment of Section 1C, omits to do anything that is reasonably necessary to prevent an act of terrorism. D, assist or facilitate the activities of persons engaged in an act D. Assist or facilitates the activities of persons engaged in an act of terrorism or is an accessory to an offense under this act. E. Participates as an accomplice in or contributes to the commission of any act of terrorism or offenses under this act. So it goes on to list all of the, I'm not going to go through the entirety of it. According to the provisions of the act, any person who commits any of the offenses referred to in this act commits an offense under this act and is liable on conviction to maximum of death sentence. So this is, look at what we're talking about here. Whilst many criticized the position of the president on the issue, Mr. Shehu said that even though the cases of Mrs. Adeosun and the communication minister is allegedly criminality, Nigerians who have failed to forgive Mr. PANTAMI are the major problem of the country. Asked why Buhari's regime allowed the ex-finance minister to go, but defended Mr. PANTAMI, the presidential aide said, in the second case, which is that of PANTAMI, you are probing the thoughts of what Americans called McCarthyism. You search the inner recesses of the mind of the individual, bring out things they have said and they are about to say, and you think they would say, and use that against them. So it's not things that he's about to say, or we think that he will say, but actually things that he did actually say. So it's not McCarthyism, it's a categorical fact. To Mr. Shehu, the president's position would have been different if the communication minister was also involved in certificate forgery. If PANTAMI had forged a certificate before coming into office, the attitude of the presidency would have been different, he said, maintaining that the minister is a changed man. We don't remain in the same position. Don't assume that things cannot change. If the one who created you gives it to you that from being bad you become good, what says you should deny some other person that right? He further noted that the continuous outcry and criticism of Mr. PANTAMI explains that some Nigerians are intolerant and the country's problems. So the people that are criticizing PANTAMI for being a terrorist are the problems, but PANTAMI, of course, is whiter than white and the golden boy. Those people who stand on criticism of a man who has said he had wronged society, he has apologized and changed, and they are not willing to forgive him to move on, they are the ones who are the problem. They are the ones who are deeply intolerant, he said. So this is, it's almost unbelievable. In fact, it is actually unbelievable, but this is the situation that we find ourselves in. Isaac, what says you? Hello, Isaac.
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
How are you? Have you been following?
Well, I follow a little bit anyway.
What are you making of the ridiculousness of it? Let me just give you a quick summary of what we've gone through. The EFCC have arrested and then released GODSWILL Akpabio because, of course, he went to the EFCC office with $350,000 American dollars in cash, requested a meeting with the new EFCC chair, Abdulrashid Bawa, and proceeded to try and bribe him to shut down the countless corruption cases that is leveled against him. It was Abubakar Malami, by the way, that facilitated that meeting. So that guy then he arrested him on the spot, but then, of course, he was only able to hold on to him for 2 hours before he got a call from Aso Rock to release him. It's frightening, you know. So before he got a call from Aso Rock to release him immediately. And then the second narrative that we went to is Madam Obi Ezekwesilsi. She's alarming at this. I'm sure you would have heard that Malam Buhari has said that that don't worry about PANTAMI, that he just made a mistake. It was a silly boy in the past who was not a silly boy. But then, of course, we went through the Nigerian statute laws, and what this guy, what he did is actually death penalty. That is the only a penalty that is aligned to that crime. So this guy committed that crime. He has not denied that he committed the crime of being a terrorist. And you are saying that he said he has changed his mind, and you are saying that is sufficient enough for you to give him a pass. What are we talking about in this country? So we went through that, and then we landed on the last story that we were going. Do you remember Kemi Adeosun, the erstwhile finance minister, that they said she forged not her degrees or anything, but just her NYSC release form, and they hounded this woman out of office, and they chased her until they chased her out of that office back to the United Kingdom. So they're now saying if that woman could have been forced out of office for, yes, that was a misdemeanor, but it's hardly the highest of crimes within the Nigerian space. So if that woman could have been forced out of office for that reason, how can you then justify giving absolution to this guy? And what Gabashir was telling us is that the guy has said sorry, that the big problem that we're really contending with is that we are intolerant. I mean, I'm starting to get afraid, you know, it's scary stuff. What says you, Isaac?
Thank you very much. To start with, I will start with Akpabio. We can see that we've been talking about this thing for a very long time. These politicians, they don't like masses for anything. Because right now we see how hunger is going on in the land, and somebody want to bribe one department of $350,000 cash. So, which means $350,000 cash is just little money that he can just take to the party.
Well, the thing is, Isaac, he could not have stolen just $1 million and try to bribe with 300. So he would have stolen tens and tens, if not hundreds of millions, because of course, you know, you have to weigh the balance. So, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So this money is just like the shaking change that he just take to Suya spot.
Exactly.
Suya.
For the weekend.
So we can see that these people don't love they don't love us at all. They only care about themselves. And the earlier we get the 33,000 unemployment youth, the earlier they hold people these people responsible, the better for the youth of Nigeria. So I'm going to leave that Akpabio to that. Now I'm coming to Buhari. You mentioned a statement yesterday that are we black? I think maybe you said are we inferior or something like that. I'm sure you used that.
Yes, I said I was trying to be provocative, but you have to ask the question that if are we intellectually inferior, or do we have a deficiency in our being to be the way we are?
Exactly. So now I'm going to reference to that. It baffles me when I see our politician or our any public holders, particularly in Africa, when they commit any crime or they do something that is wrong, it is very difficult for them to resign. So this has shown clearly that they are there only to serve their own purpose, not for the masses. Because we can see what is going on in the Western world. I can tell you, even if the prime minister, if they accuse a prime minister of even councillor of any city in UK, I can tell you that they will have resigned by now, let alone minister that even have sensitive information of Nigerians. And Buhari is telling us that where there is nothing they can do, is really behind him. So you know, I told you before. If you remember what I said, I think last week, I told you that this guy they will not do anything about this case.
Yes.
Even if they remove him, even if they remove him, they will make him ambassador somewhere. They might send him to Saudi Arabia.
But do you know what is really scrambling my brain here? How is it possible? Because you know the guy has not come out to deny that he said what he said. And he cannot deny it because they've captured him on audio, they've captured him on video. He has been suspended from mosques in his city and kicked out of, you know. So there's too much evidence for him to deny it. So he has not denied it. So he is now saying to us that, yes, I used to be a hardened terrorist an international terrorist in my 20s and 30s, but now that I'm a minister, I don't think like that anymore. And what Buhari is saying is that that is sufficient enough for us to forget about it. And Garba Shehu has gone on national television to tell us that we're being intolerant. This is what we're discussing. Are you alarmed?
Very, very alarmed.
This is frightening.
Frightening. These people, they don't even know what is going on. You see the agenda, as we always discuss here, the agenda is to dominate and Islamize Nigeria to any length. That is their plan. Because how could somebody, this guy confessed by himself? It's not that somebody said it to him. It's not that the lie.
Sorry, Isaac. We are not saying that this guy stole sweet when he was 5 years old, though. You know, we're not saying that he was rude to a teacher when he was in secondary school. Or we were not saying that he was fighting and he injured somebody when he was 18. We are saying that this guy is an international terrorist, a self-professed one, and you are telling us that he said he's not thinking like that anymore, and that is okay.
That even said that he supported
Al Qaeda, Taliban.
That he supported them. That they should kill infidel.
He said anytime that a non-Muslim is killed, he celebrates that is a good day. And this guy is gathering data on everybody in Nigeria. So he has all the information on where the Christians are concentrated, their age, their gender, everything. And this is a guy that is a self-confessed terrorist. And you're telling us
the issue is that if we compare this case to Adeosun's case, this one is even much more brutal. In fact, it is 1,000 miles away from Adeosun's case.
The Adeosun's case is more like the example that I'm giving, that okay, you stole sweet when you were 5. That one, of course, that one is still it falls short of the standard we expect of a minister, but certainly not even in the same planet as
you can see the caliber of those people who are ruling Nigeria. The other time we hear about one of the Senate president that he said he graduated from Toronto. Then when and they couldn't find the result. Even look at even the Buhari himself. The Buhari himself.
Well, there you are. Look at the person that sacked somebody for NYSC certificate. Where is his own school cert, which the Constitution requires?
Exactly. He could not even provide his own, even see ordinary school cert certificate. He couldn't. They cook it up that okay, well, he eventually graduated. So it is baffling. It is very sad. This situation we find ourselves, and Garba Shehu is just talking nonsense in his mouth because they don't have sense. That is the result we got when non-entity is leading a country. Those who don't know the left to the right. So that is what I have for now. So you can continue. You are very right. that is what we get. Nigeria is a corrupt place. Even the base of Nigeria is corruption. Nigeria is built on lies and corruption. So that is why we are finding ourselves in this situation. And the yearly, those people who don't even have job, that running walking up and down the street in Nigeria, the yearly they hold these people responsible, the better for every one of us.
Oh, hello. Did I come off stream? Oh, can you hear me still? I wasn't aware that I came off stream. I wonder how long that has been the case. So I'm going to take that narrative again, actually, because I came off stream and I'm not quite sure whether I came off stream. So we were talking about the Americans' response to the PANTAMI situation. So let me just take that all over again. Amidst PANTAMI's terrorism revelation, U.S. issued a third-level alert. So this is now the Americans taking a position regarding the PANTAMI situation. Apologies, I wasn't aware that I had come off stream. I must have clicked on my way to go into that narrative. So let's just bring you what the Americans are saying fairly quickly. Amidst revelation of Issa PANTAMI's terrorism links to Al-Qaeda and Taliban and sympathy for Boko Haram, the American government has issued a third-level alert warning its citizens to reconsider traveling to Nigeria. Warning its citizens to reconsider traveling to Nigeria. Mr. Pantami is a Minister of Communication and Digital Economy under President Muhammadu Buhari. Despite public opprobrium, Mr. Pantami has refused to resign, whilst Mr. Buhari has glossed over the issues, reiterating his confidence in the minister. Worried about the worsening violent acts of terrorism and banditry in the country amidst Mr. Buhari's regime's failure to rein in the country's protracted insecurity, the United States government reissued a third-level alert to Americans regarding traveling to Nigeria. So don't go there. It's effectively what the Americans are saying. Withdrawing their citizens from the Nigerian space is effectively the situation that we find ourselves. So, yeah, no, it wasn't a network problem, Jennifer. I think I may have well clicked myself out of the room as I was trying to click on a different tab to give you the American narrative. But glad you're still here. So I'll just give you that American narrative and then I'll see what you guys are making of it. It warned, terrorists continue plotting and carrying out attacks in Nigeria, especially in the Northeast. Terrorists may attack with little or no warning, targeting shopping centers, malls, markets, hotels, places of worship, restaurants, bars, schools, government installations, transportation hubs, and other places where people gather. Terrorists are known to work with local gangs to expand their reach. The Level 3 alert specifically wants Americans to reconsider coming to Nigeria, just a step below the highest level, Level 4. It was issued on April the 20th. Concerning violent crimes in Nigeria, the United States government warned its citizens that violent crimes such as armed robbery, assault, carjacking, kidnapping, hostage-taking, banditry, and rape is common throughout the country. So you have to note that, because that is effectively an absolute and a categorical condemnation of the entirety of the Nigerian space by the Americans, because if you look at the litany of crimes that they are warning their citizens to be wary of, then there's really no cause for any right-thinking person to go to Nigeria. So I just give you that list again. Concerning violent crimes in Nigeria, the United States government warned its citizens that, so this is the list now of attributions that they are making to the Nigerian space. So United States government warned its citizens that violent crimes such as armed robbery, so 1, assault, 2, and there's and as I'm going through the list, pick one or pick out one that you think that the Americans are exaggerating in this, warning their citizens to be wary of. So they are asking their citizens to be wary of armed robbery, which of course happens regular in the Nigerian space. Assault, of course, a regular occurrence. It is happening as we're speaking now in every bus stop in the entirety of the Nigerian space, with one Agbero boy fighting the other Agbero boy over the affections of Rashida or Silifa or the 100 naira that somebody gave them and they don't know how to share. So assault, a common occurrence within the Nigerian space. Carjacking, of course, I mean, we all know that. Kidnapping, of course. Hostage taking, of course. Banditry, of course. And rape. So these are the things that they are saying is commonplace throughout the country. So effectively, the Americans are and they have put Nigeria now at the second to highest level of security alert that they have within their space. So level 3 categorization is what the Americans have given the Nigerian space. Specifically, it warns that kidnapping for ransom frequently occurs, often targeting dual national citizens who have returned to Nigeria for a visit, as well as U.S. citizens with perceived wealth. So that is, there's absolutely no denying that, of course, because, of course, as soon as you land from that airport, the area boys have sent the memo around all of the area boys that some JJC has landed. And, of course, they don't understand that you have just come with your £2,000, $5,000 just to do fine boy for a week or two and leave. They think, of course, that you have come with a generational wealth to come and change their life. And quickly, as flash, they've picked you up either for ransom or just to rob you and kill you. So this is the warning that the Americans are giving to their citizens. And for me, it's a warning that I will invite them to heed. It also noted that there is civil unrest and low-level armed militancy in parts of the South. It is in part of southern Nigeria, especially in the Niger Delta region, citing armed criminality, including kidnapping and maritime crimes. So the litany of crimes ascribed to Nigeria. A previous travel warning was issued on March the 16th, 2021, directing its citizens to reconsider travel to Nigeria due to C-19, crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and maritime crime. Some areas have increased risk. So that is the American warning now, off the back of the atrocities now of PANTAMI. So let's see what you guys are making of it as I seek to round off, because let's just so let's see what you guys are making of it as I seek to round off. This is the hyperlink if anybody wants to come. We had Isaac, but I think when we lost connection, he lost connection too. But I will seek to round off fairly soon if nobody wants to come on screen and chime in. So this is Omokate making a comment. All this thing that Yorubas are doing is for Tinubu 2023. So how that quite comes into the equation, I don't know. How are you able to bring Tinubu 2023 into a narrative that is speaking about PANTAMI's terrorism and related matters? So of course, you are coming with that anyway, irrespective of what the conversation was. So this is Jennifer. Yes, I hear you now. I thought it is my network problem. No, it was not your network problem. It was a glitch in the system here. So that has been the session that was. And by the way, if you are inclined, if you look, you'll see that this is going to be like a marathon session, because I'm going to do a second session because it is the weekend. I'm going to do a second session round about 12:45, which is just barely an hour from now. I'm going to do a second session with the focus on the sugar relationship within the Nigerian space. So we're talking about sugar daddies and sugar babies and that dichotomous relationship and what underpins it. So that is a departure from our traditional fare, but it is one of the things that we're seeking to tackle anyway, just to expand the scope of the audience that we get on the channel. Because, of course, heavy-duty diet of politics already, this is the place to come to. But we want to have even a broader reach as we start to introduce human element narratives to the channel. So every one of you now that is listening to this, just grab yourself a coffee, chill out for a little bit, reconvene at 12. Let me just see what time I've actually set it up for, just so I'm not giving you false information. Just bear with me. It should really, if you are all set up with your notification, then it should really be on your notification. But it's set up then for, yes, 12:45 is when it's set up for. So if you're chanced and you just want to have that in the background as you relax in bed or relax on your couch or whatever, 12:45 a.m., we are reconvening to go through a narrative with the theme of let me see how I've actually titled it. But the theme is, it says sugar daddies and the Nigerian female is how I've titled it. So that really pretty much tells you what the thrust of it is. So we will reconvene for 12:45, but this session has been, of course, the usual diet of politics. We went through GODSWILL Akpabio being detained at the EFCC center for going there with 350,000 American dollars in cash and attempting to bribe the new EFCC chairperson, Abdulrasheed Bawa. So an unsuccessful attempt, and they held on to him, and they took a call from Aso Rock to effect his release. So that was the first story that we went through, and then we went on to Madam Obi Ezekwesili's response to Malam Buhari granting Isa PANTAMI absolution, even though he's a self-confessed terrorist within his administration. And then we did a quick pit stop in Ekiti State to visit the First Lady of that space, and BC FAYEMI, her name is, and she's come out in the public space to alarm that the chances of a female ever becoming the president of Nigeria is between slim and none. So no chance of a female president ever. So that we went through as well. And then we went on to the narrative just to hammer down this Isa PANTAMI narrative. So we went on to the narrative of our people drawing parallels between how Kemi Adeosun was treated and how Isa PANTAMI now is being treated. Kemi Adeosun, of course, a lot of you will remember, around about 2018 thereabout. She was the Minister of Finance from inception of this administration in 2015 up to 2018, when she was engrossed in a controversy around her NYSC release certificate, and that controversy blossomed and took on a life of its own to the point that she was hounded and harangued out of office just off the back of an anomaly in a NYSC certificate. So a lot of people are inviting that conversation into the PANTAMI conversation, and they are saying that how can you hound and force this woman out of office as the finance minister of Nigeria off the back of an anomaly in a NYSC release form, but you are granting absolution to Isa PANTAMI, who by his own admission is an international terrorist. So where is the parallel, where is the convergence in the balance of weight between those two narratives? Because they run similar strap lines, but totally divergent in how the treatment has been meted out. So the presidency then came out to say that had Isa PANTAMI forged a certificate, he would have been sacked. Kemi Adeosun, of course, did not forge any certificate. We are talking about an NYSC release form, which is not a certificate in itself, but which is the more egregious of the two crimes is then, of course, the next logical question to go to. Forging, as they say, or being a bit clever by half, which is the better description, being a bit cute and smart with your NYSC release form, or being a noted terrorist calling for the beheading of people for no greater crime than having a different faith from yours. So this is what the Buhari regime is telling us, and they are telling us now that Isa PANTAMI has said he doesn't think like that anymore, and the real crime that is taking place is the intolerance of the Nigerian people. So the intolerance of the Nigerian people then is manifested and vested in the point that they are a bit reticent of having a self-confessed terrorist in charge of the country's database. So this is the intolerance. This is what the perception of intolerance of the Buhari administration is. So that's the narrative that we've had. I think we've got, okay, I think we've lost him again, but we are seeking to round off anyway, because it doesn't look as though comments are being made and people are not jumping through the hoops to come and join in the live streaming as they usually do, and we are an hour into it, so I'm happy to rest it here because, of course, as I said, there will be a secondary session for 12:45 when we shall be discussing sugar relationships. So we're going there, we're going to that territory. So we're discussing sugar relationships, sugar daddies and sugar babies. This is what we're looking to discuss for 12:45. So charge up your wine glasses and get your cocoa ready. I think we got Isaac back. Isaac, I was just about to round it off, really. I'm sure you've heard what I said about my next session. I'm sure this is not something. We've got to speak truth as well. So suddenly people are popping up. Isaac, what about you then? Have you got any sugar babes? Eh?
No.
Are you sure? Madam is listening, Abby.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I won't incriminate you. I think the whole point is that the wife is not supposed to allow or no, but we'll go there. So we are going there for 12:45, but just for the session as we're seeking to round off. So you first and speak truth. Let's get speak truth first. Are you with us or speak truth?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So what have you made of this session?
What actually happened was, this whole Nigerian corruption case. People are getting tired of these people, and it's so. I'm not even interested. It's so boring that every time we're talking about corrupt people,
you can't say it's boring though, because
I'm not saying the matter. I mean, these people are just too shameless. Like it's just like they don't even act their age. They don't. It's just shameless and shameful. I don't know. That's why I'm not even interested in talking about these people.
You see what really shocked a lot of people. We hear it all the time, and we shouldn't be shocked anymore. But what people continue to find shocking is that we have now this just little story of this guy carrying 350,000. We're not talking naira, which is bad enough. American dollars in cash to go and bribe the EFCC chairperson. So if he's carrying that sort of money to go and bribe this guy, then you can be sure that he has stolen 40, 50, 60, $100 million. So that is coming out of that economy. That is coming out of that NDDC Niger Delta area, and people are driving in potholes. The land is subsiding. The children are malnourished. Everybody is in chaos. There's no facility, and this guy. So this is really. So that's really why it continues to concern. So yeah,
what happened is that once they get this money, they get it. Whoever, there's just a carcass of people. They get the money, they take it back again. They just keep deceiving Nigerians. It's just terrible.
It's terrible. But I do hope. I hope you stay until or I hope you come back to in 12:45. Because we'll be discussing sugar daddies and sugar babies. So perhaps you might find that one a bit more entertaining than...
Oh, no, it's not even about entertainment. Yeah, every information is useful, is important. It's just that I do appreciate the fact that you're talking about what Akpabio and all that. It's just that they run a circle. They say these things and they get the money, they take it back. It's between them. They all know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just bunch of greedy people who don't have no human conscience,
What time is it where you are?
In the US is 5:46 now, in the 5:46 p.m.
Should your son not be taking his afternoon nap? Did you say it's 3 or something?
Oh no, I have two. My daughters.
Okay.
It's a girl, yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay.
No, she's here trying to put the earpiece in her.
No, I can hear her angling for your attention.
Ears.
So we'll let you give her some attention as we. Oh yes. Well, she can say hello. Hello, okay. Princess. What's your name?
Yeah. Okay. I might come back for the. I'll come back for the other. I'll see if I can. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. So we go to Isaac. Isaac.
Yes, thank you very much. I see a comment here. That is why I pop up again.
Yes.
Because the person mentioned that all these things that Yoruba are doing is for Tinubu 2023. I, for one, I don't care, but 1 million of Tinubu doesn't care. I don't care about any politician in Nigeria. We care about those people who are suffering there. Take it back. Either we take back the country, or everybody just go in their separate way so we can take care of ourselves. Who cares
Isaac, it just speaks. You know, sometimes you tell me off sometimes that I go too hard about sort of like, because I'm going to categorize that as unsober behavior. We're talking about GODSWILL Akpabio looting money and trying to bribe EFCC. We're talking about Madam Ngozi fighting Buhari for absolving this terrorist. This is what we're talking about. So how did this person then manage to, what is the alignment between, it's not even Tinubu. So what's the Tinubu? Can you make sense of it?
Who cares about Tinubu? Nobody cares about Tinubu. We are talking about how Nigeria will get better, or everybody going their separate way. Who cares? These people have been running this country for many years. The same story over.
You know, if you remove again. If you remove the name, if you remove the name GODSWILL Akpabio from this story, and you can replace it with Rotimi Amechi, because he looted the whole of River State before, and he continues to loot at the Transport Ministry. You can replace it with the name Tinubu. Everybody knows that story. You can even replace it with Fashola that used 30 million naira of government money to build website for himself, etc., etc. You can replace it with anybody. Huh?
Billboard.
Who's that?
I think Fashola used some millions of naira also to do one billboard in Lagos.
Billboard, you know, so forget Akpabio. Akpabio is just a placeholder. Remove Akpabio and put any other name. It's the same story.
The same thing. So we are not talking.
The same story.
It's not issue for supporting anybody or any politician. Nobody cares right now. We care about those people who are suffering in Nigeria. Those kids that are not going to school, that they abandon on the streets, and they're using the money that's supposed to benefit everybody, and they're using it for their own selfish interest.
I'm glad you said that, you know, because Isaac, people don't make that association, you know, between this money that they're hearing them looting and the lack of facility. And there's only so much money in the country. Let's say the country has 10 million naira, and that's 10 million naira, it can build a school and fix a road. You know,
exactly.
If somebody now lose 5 million of that 10 million naira, you either then have to choose between building a road or building a school and fixing a road. But then if somebody then loot 8 or 9 million of that 10 million naira, you can neither build a school or fix a road. So everything is gone. So it's not as though there's endless money. There's only so much money. And when these people loot it, the price that we pay is the price that we're paying in Nigeria now. So this is really what frustrates me sometimes. They say, it's his turn, he must chop. Well, if he's chopping, you're the one that is starving.
Nobody cares about any turn now, right now. The politicians in Nigeria, they are all the same. Do you want to give you one gist?
Go on.
It is very imperative to the extent that if you are not corrupt in Nigeria, you cannot be a politician, you cannot be a commissioner, you cannot hold any political position. You must loot. You must be a criminal before you can join the gang.
In fact, it is impossible to be an honest official within the night. How can you manage it?
You are not going to be a governor. You are not going to be any.
You won't last one day in any office in Nigeria.
You are not a looter. You must loot. When you loot, that is when you join the club.
If you are a commissioner under some, if you're a DG or some agency under some ministry, and at the end of the month, the minister calls you and says, okay, what about me for the weekend? Now you're saying, what for the weekend? The budget, you start bringing out your budget and saying every couple is accounted for. You can leave and go back to your office the next morning, but don't expect to go back the morning after that, because they will replace you immediately. Because what the minister wants you to be doing is to be servicing him money. So you cannot be an honest politician with it. It's a criminal enterprise in the Nigerian space.
Exactly. We don't care about any politician, either from Igbo, from North, or from Yoruba.
No,
who cares?
No.
We want people that are suffering there. We know what is going on there, because every single time I always talk to people. It is we know what is going on there. Where I have family there, I have friends. So it is we having all the information that is going on there every single day. Even you can even see the other day, I think it was 2 days ago. If you see a lot of people that queue to get food from one of the politicians, in fact, it is about the distance.
But what will be the
200 meters?
What will be the tipping point, Isaac, in that country is the question. What will it take for the people to have a reaction? Because for me now, we have already gone past the tipping point, you know,
exactly.
But people are still, they are grinding you down and you're going for that. What will it take to trigger something in that country? What is the tipping point? Or are they just going to die this miserable death of just being weighed down?
That is just it. It is very, when I look at the crowd, even in this pandemic, though they don't believe that pandemic is in Nigeria anyway, because the system. That's why people don't really believe. But there is a coronavirus in Nigeria as well. You can see the distance. People have to queue. I called my wife. I said, "Come and look at something." You can even see how people are feeling hungry. Young kid, old people, even those who cannot even walk. Are we talking? Who cares about Tinubu? Who cares about whoever wants to be president? We are talking about people who are suffering. I'm averagely okay.
You know those aunties and uncles that used to give us biscuit and whatnot back in those days, that you look forward to their visit. Those are the ones now that are calling you now that are aburo. You know, it's just so sad. You know, it's just so sad. You know, people that were successful in their own right.
It is me know how much I spent during the pandemic to assist people, making sure people are okay. People are not okay. We are not talking of politicians. We don't care about that.
If you want to look at the level of cruelty in that country, of course you'll recall when people started to identify where the palliatives for this pandemic was being kept. Gari that was meant to be palliative, it was molding. It was molding and going bad in bags and bags and bags of gari that was turning green and yellow. And they prefer for that gari to turn green and yellow, and the people starve to death. So, and then one guy in Ogun State, in Oyo State, they gave him, he got some, whatever organization gave him this facility for motorbikes as an empowerment tool for people, and he kept these motorbikes. He said he wanted on his birthday to give it to people to celebrate. Are you mad? You know.
It is just that we Nigerians we adapt to hardship, because every single thing is hard. You save money in the bank. You want to take your money, you will still have to get it in hard way.
In fact, you are fighting the moment you leave your house till the moment you come back. You will fight the conductor. You will fight the teller. You will fight the olopa on the street. You fight. Oh God, it's a hellish country.
We are trying to talk sense to our people. It's not issue of anybody who's
and he's telling you it's Tinubu. You ever look at that?
Tinubu can go.
No. It's this comment that this person made that is just, you know, this. You see the comment that person made is just part of the problems that we're contending with, because here we are now having a conversation about just really identifying what is wrong, and then from that trying to see if we can begin to have thoughts about how to put it right. And he has now come in, or she has now come in that it is the Yoruba and Tinubu. So you see that we're in bigger trouble in that country than we think.
Tinubu, do you think Tinubu is going to do anything for anybody when he gets there?
No, Tinubu is just going to sell everything. Anything that is not sold by Buhari will be sold by Tinubu.
Exactly, and finish the whole country. Yeah. Who cares? We don't care about any politician right now. We are talking about people who are suffering. How could 33 million people, 33% of the population, don't have job? So it means that is the figure they gave us.
Imagine how debilitating it is for the soul. You're a young man of 23, 27, whatever. So they've told you that this is the pathway to to achieve in life. So you follow that pathway, you listened in school, you've paid attention, you have good grades, you've got to your university, you were the students, whatever, and at the end of it, you're just dusting around. You know where the young people are now? They're in betting shops, trying to put money on Arsenal to win, to see if that is the way forward, because absolutely nothing.
And some involved in Yahoo Yahoo.
Of course. I mean, can you blame the army? I don't blame a Yahoo boy, or so long as it's not doing ritual. It's just the victims that I feel sorry for a bit, but it's the environment, that breeds this.
That is why I said it yesterday. It is our government is spoiling Nigerians' name it's spoiling the Nigerians' name all over the world. Because if they put writing in right place. Okay, well, you have good job, you are living good. Nobody is going to embezzle money. Nobody is going to do internet fraud.
Do you know what they call Aristo?
Yeah.
So no, hold on. That's going to be, because as I said, I am going to do another session. So that's going to be my next session, because we were talking about education. My next question is that the average girl, is it possible for the average girl from middle to lower income family, is it possible for that average girl to go through the university system without having at least one or two aristos on the side? So this is the situation now, because the girls, all of them, almost certainly a good majority of them, they are commercializing their body, just for survival. So this is, it's a mess. It's a mess. So give us final thoughts. We'll round up this session so I can go, freshen up and then go again.
Well, I don't have anything to say now. I will come back to have another program in the next 1 hour, right?
Yes. Okay, so that one we will be exposing your secrets in that one, Isaac. Don't worry. all those Russian girls that you are keeping,
for where my wife will kill me.
Yeah, I know.
We are at 8 o'clock now anyway, so you will do that in the next 45 minutes.
Yes, 12:45. So thank you, Isaac, and we look forward to seeing you again. So that was Isaac, just rounding things off for us. We'll take Jennifer's comment as the last comment, as we do seek to round off. As I said, a double session this time around. And as I said, I am trying to move the weight of these sessions away just from exclusively politics. So the next session, which comes up at 12:45, is going to be more of a human interest session. And that human interest session, of course, we're going deep, a deep dive. And the question that we're posing is the unusual relationship between your 40, 50-year-old man, who is a wealthy man, and your 23 to 27, maybe even 18-year-old girl, and of course the inducements. So we're talking sugar daddies and sugar babies in at 12:45. So I'll leave you here. Just before I do leave you here, you've heard the summaries of what has transpired. So I'll leave you in this session. I'll reconvene in the next session, but here I say peace.